Almost all American journalism is controlled by a few massive corporations. News Voice is a one-of-a-kind mobile app that tracks the bias and corporate interests that infuse the news stories we consume every day, and it's completely free to use. Go to newsvoice.com/Pakman to download it. Dr. Anthony Fauci, the top infectious disease doctor in the country, who has been trying to run a coherent coronavirus response and has been fighting against the White House in order to do it, is now begging and pleading with Americans to just listen to science, understand and accept what's going on. And it's like reasoning with little kids, unfortunately, in much of this country. Here he is on MSNBC, again having to explain that we have a process for studying whether a drug works and that hydroxychloroquine doesn't work.
Follow the science. If a study that's a good study comes out and shows efficacy and safety for hydroxychloroquine or any other drug that we do, if you do it in the right way, you accept the scientific data. But right now, today, the cumulative scientific data that has been put together and done over a number of different studies has shown no efficacy. So when there's a video out there for a bunch of people spouting something that isn't true, the only recourse you have is to be very, very clear in presenting the scientific data that essentially contradicts that.
We have such an education crisis in this country. We have such a media literacy problem in this country that the top infectious disease doctor is having to spend a non-negligible amount of time just explaining to people, we know how to study whether a drug works. And this one doesn't work. You shouldn't be taking it. And meanwhile, Trump is insisting it's good. Congressman COVID, Louis Gohmert, says he's taking it now that he has coronavirus. And this is how Dr. Fauci is having to spend his time. Trump is still doing this. In the last 48 hours, Trump said the following.
I wasn't making claims. It's recommendations of many other people, including doctors. Many doctors think it is extremely successful. The hydroxychloroquine, coupled with the zinc and perhaps the zithromycin. But many doctors think it's extremely good, and some people don't. Some people, I think it's become very political. I happen to believe in it. I would take it. As you know, I took it for a 14-day period, and I'm here, right? I'm here.
They seem to now see everything as a matter of opinion. It's all political. Your opinion is hydroxychloroquine works. My opinion is that it doesn't. These are just differing opinions. The obvious hypocrisy here is that it's the right that has come out waging this battle against what they call postmodernism from the left. They claim, the left thinks words don't mean anything anymore. Everything's just opinion. There's no more real truth. And yet they come out and then say, well, our opinion is hydroxychloroquine works. When it comes to what do the words man and woman mean, the right says the left is playing too fast and loose with definitions and what things mean. And yet here they are saying just a matter of opinion if hydroxychloroquine works. Some people believe it doesn't. Some people believe it doesn't, as if science and medical studies don't have anything to tell us about it. If their opinion is that a mask could cause harm, or as Congressman COVID said a couple days ago, give you coronavirus, then we have to say, well, their opinion is theirs, and then we might have scientific consensus, but in the end, it's all just opinions. This is dangerous. This is dangerous far beyond the coronavirus situation that we're dealing with right now. And this is also another problem I've spoken of in the past, the idolizing of people over process, the idolizing of a cult of personality when it reigns supreme over understanding how we come to know things. And that's an issue we've been talking about for years. In the United States, these are estimates, maybe 60% of the population will listen to science because they understand how it works. The other 40% is a combination of people who sort of listen to science, even though they don't really know how it works, but it's sort of just like an argument from authority for them. And then an amalgam of people who will follow their religion or what they believe their religion says, or their cult leader. In this case, the cult leader can be a political figure. And this is unique to the right. Imagine for a moment, Joe Biden were president, coronavirus hits, and Joe Biden comes out and says, You know, doctors say hydroxychloroquine doesn't work, but I think it does. You should take it. You're not going to see a lot of leftists go and say, Joe Biden said hydroxy works. I'm going to take it even though doctors say no. This is a phenomena of the American right. It does not exist in the left to any kind of significant degree. And this is a cult-like aspect of the right in the United States. And it's not just the type of thing we talk about in academic settings. This is causing very real and concrete problems. And if you think it's bad now with this hydroxychloroquine stuff and the mask fiasco, just wait until a vaccine comes out, which maybe is 60-70% effective, but 40% of the country may refuse the coronavirus vaccine, as some studies expect will happen. 45% of the country may opt not to get a coronavirus vaccine once it is available. Horrifying. Absolutely horrifying. Make sure you're following me on Twitter at @Pakman. And remember, you can get the daily audio podcast every day. You don't have to watch the short YouTube clips if you prefer a long form audio format when you're working out, when you're doing whatever it is that you're doing, gardening, your zooks and cukes, maybe like me. Grab the audio podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, Spotify, Pandora, whatever your favorite podcasting app is.